You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Okwemi Agbaje. In this edition, I engage with a commissioner for youth and sports outside Lagos and get their perspectives to how they're empowering the youth, how they're invigorating sports and other activities of their state government. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council. My guest today is the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports in Ogun State. He has been Commissioner for Environment. He was previously Commissioner for Special Duties. He is a Prince of Okeono, Egba, and my senior from Igbobi College, Dr. Lanre Tejuosho. You're welcome to the Policy Council.
Thank you very much.
Let me ask you about, let me start with the traditional institution. Yeah. I'm sure when I first encountered you in Igbobi, you were not a prince. How did that transition to the traditional institution, has it had any impact on your life? Is there some unique attributes of it that you reflect on today?
Well, I mean, from birth, I mean, since my young age, I knew my grandmother was a very prominent princess of Okeono, Abeokuta. So, and of course, my father,
it was not beyond your envy, something you could envisage at that time.
Well, I mean, I'm not a king.
Yeah.
My father is the king. So,
but maybe you could be one day.
Well, who knows tomorrow? So, I mean, I knew there was some traditional royalty in the family, and of course, our people, they take it very serious. In terms of how they respect their traditional rulers. So, growing up, we saw all of them always coming saying Kabiyesi, Kabiyesi to everybody around. So, and so we went along.
The other thing I remember is, it's funny you are Commissioner for Youth and Sports today. One of my earliest memories of you, I'm sure most people can't imagine looking at you now that you used to be a very good footballer. And I remember one team, neighborhood football team you guys had with my brother and some other friends in Igbobi College days that was playing in Lukweju area. And you used to play, what's that, front left wing?
Yes, I was very good with my left.
Yes, I remember that. Yes,
and I attempted to play for Igbobi College.
I'd almost probably did. He was a very good footballer, I can say that. What else? There one other thing I wanted to talk about. Have you ever practiced medicine? All I know, what's in the public image is Dr. Lanre Tejuosho. We know you're a doctor, but what we see is a politician and a businessman. Did you abandon the practice of medicine?
Well, I mean, I was born into a family of a medical doctor. My father is a medical doctor, the first industrial medical practitioner in Nigeria. And we virtually lived in the hospital.
Yes,
I got interested in medicine by virtue of my exposure to the hospital at that time. And of course, there's no medical doctor that will go through the minimum 7 years of the training. And practicing medicine, it's more of practice during your study years. So, and of course the compulsory housemanship, and of course you have to do your youth service. So you have at least 5 years of hands-on medical practice. So, and the hospital of the family is still operating, and of course the administrative aspect of it I still get involved.
Okay, excellent. Let me ask you one question that I'm sure many of the viewers will be interested in. What's going on in Ogun State? It's almost as if there's some mini political war that has been declared between your boss, His Excellency Governor Amosu, and one of his predecessors, our Aremo Oshoba too. So what's going on?
Well, that is also one of the dividends of democracy. Because if you can recall, 4 years ago, when the previous government was there, there was no one that is coming out now that could dare come out then to say they are protesting or anything. They were doing all their protests from Lagos or from Abuja. But we thank God today there's so much peace that has been created by virtue of the government of His Excellency Senator Ibikunle Amosu. And they are all beneficiaries of this peace. Now they can now come out and protest. So it's very good. I have a very peace-loving governor. And no matter what is happening, he keeps on saying there's peace. And is striving to make sure that peace is sustained.
But isn't that peace endangered? Because some of the reports we're hearing, we've had 2 or 3 incidences of shooting, several people shot, and there's all likelihood that this may degenerate as we move towards the end of this year and 2015.
Well, we are in Ogun State, and we know that there's more noise than action. So as far as we are concerned, the place is still very peaceful. All the actors, they know what they want to achieve, but we will not encourage the peace that we are enjoying to be lost. So we are very confident that peace will be sustained in Ogun State. Ogun State is one of the most peaceful states now in Nigeria, and we are determined to keep it so. So no matter how much they try to devoid the state of the peace, we are not going to agree.
Interesting. Let's take a short time out. I'm with the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports in Ogun State, a noble Igbobian, Dr. Lanre Tejuosho. We'll be right back.
My name is Onyema Ikinzago. I live in Lagos, where things are getting better every day. Our school has just been renovated, and they give us free notebooks too. Going to school is easier and safer for students like me because I can cross the highway using the footbridge, and I use the BRT bus, which is fast, convenient, and free for students like me. I enjoy looking at the beautiful streets on my way to school, and the many street signs tell me where exactly I am. When I get to Basic 12, the government will pay the fees for my GCE and NECO examinations. I am happy. My mom and dad says all these good things are happening because they pay their taxes. I hope to pay my taxes when I grow up and start working. Have you paid your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council. My name is still Okwemi Agbaji, and my guest is Prince Dr. Lanre Tejuosho. Dr. Tejuosho, let me ask you, I know you were Commissioner for Special Duties. Most people wonder what special duties the government has, in which it creates a ministry and calls it a Ministry for Special Duties. Couldn't it have put that duty in some ministry that has a recognizable identity and purpose? In your case, what did you do as Commissioner for Special Duties in Ogun State?
Well, the Special Duties Ministry is set up as an intervention ministry.
Okay.
That is, the Commissioner for Special Duties could, under the direction of His Excellency the Governor, be asked to be in charge of a particular project in any other ministry.
Okay.
Projects that are maybe need some urgent attention, or maybe projects that were not previously planned, that are maybe impromptu projects.
Something that just
okay, but things that we want to be done in a very urgent fashion.
Okay.
So it's a special project, and then you're in charge of it. So that's really what the ministry has.
And in your case, is there anything notable that was urgent and special that you recall?
Yes, of course.
Achieving?
I mean, during my tenure as the Commissioner for Special Duties, we did a project to supply about 500 transformers to all the senatorial districts of the state to assist the PHCN, so that transformers won't be the excuse for not getting power to our people. So, which was unprecedented in the country. There's no state that has ever, in one full swoop like that, to just invest in that kind of a number of transformers. So I think that was a major project.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. And probably I can understand that kind of project. Probably there's no Ministry of Power in Ogun State.
Right.
So that would... How about environment? You just a few months ago, you left environment for sports. Let me say, what achievement do you have in environment? What did you do? I saw a lot of things in relation to the environment in Ogun State, but they always seem to be anchored by the office of the First Lady. I saw green this, green that. But what did the ministry do?
Well, I mean, environment issues in Ogun State, before we came in as a government, were still at the very nursery stage.
Rudimentary.
And the people were not in the culture of, paying for service. So, of course, environment is a very big business, very capital intensive. So, for you to clean the city or the whole state, I mean, the government cannot do it alone. And here we are now that with a population that doesn't trust the government, that if you collect money from us, you will do what you said you will do. So we needed to prove ourselves first, that actually we are ready to collect their waste and we are ready to manage the environment. So the government had to shoulder the financial responsibility alone for the first 1 year or so. And even up till today, we are still doing it alone. But now the people have now decided that they are going to contribute something. That's after they've seen our efforts and they know that what we say we'll do, we do. So trust, at least we've achieved that for environmental issues, and I think it's a very big plus for the state. And we hope the future will be much better than now.
Okay, excellent. So 2 months ago, or thereabout, you became Commissioner for Youth and Sports. And what would you say is your strategy? What's your agenda? What are you trying to achieve in the Ministry of Youth and Sports for Ogun State?
Well, unfortunately, I'm becoming a commissioner for youth and sports at a time when there are a lot of economic challenges in the country, not just the state. The statutory allocation, everything is going down. So, of course, you will expect that sports will not be the front burner of any state government today, because they will still want to make sure there is water for everybody, make sure that the education is well taken care of, make sure that the roads are motorable, and of course many other issues that will be seen as more important than sports. So in effect, a Ministry of Sports today, or Youth and Sports, must think out of the box to survive. We must see how we can partner with the private sector on how we could get them, to get interested in our sporting activities so that they could fund it. And of course, for us to achieve that, we must also encourage our athletes to be marketable, and also encourage our infrastructure to be attractive to the private sector for them to come and make use of, so that we could have some funding partnership somewhere to run our sports. So that's our major focus.
That's the major thrust, engagement with the private sector. Let's take a short time out and then we'll go deeper into the 2 legs of that ministry, youth and sports. We'll be right back.
Every day, we strive to make Lagos a better place for you and for me. We are restoring and regulating our signage, beautifying our streets, and greening our environment. By assisting with infrastructure, we're lighting up the darkness for all our safety, health, and happiness. Helping Lagos grow into our own international megacity. We are LASA, improving Lagos, one street at a time.
Welcome back. It's the last, no, it's not the last segment. It's my penultimate segment with Prince Dr. Lanre Tejuiso, Ogun State Commissioner for Youth and Sports. Let's talk about youth. There's a great youth challenge in Nigeria as a whole. We see the unemployment data. The unemployment rate for young persons between 15 and 24 nationally is close to 40%. That's a tragedy. That's a crisis in the making. What are you doing in Ogun State to engage with the youth, to empower them, or what are your plans since you are relatively new in this ministry?
Well, I mean, the youth issue and the challenges for the youth today, when you refer to the youth now, you are mostly referring to the unemployed graduates. Youth that have gone through university and gone through, some education, and they are now there looking for a job alone. So we have to think out of the box. We must change their mindset. It's not about looking for jobs anymore. It's about developing some skill You need to be an employer yourself. For example, you see a mechanic, you see a welder, a plumber. I mean, they didn't go to school. But yet, when we need them, we can pay any amount to make them do that service. So if we can get our graduates to know that you don't need to go to the bank or to go to the oil and gas sector before you can get a job. You can employ these plumbers, these welders, electricians, and you yourself go and learn the skill. And from your small company of 3 or 4, I would rather deal with a graduate that has an electrical outfit, and you have a problem in your house.
And who probably studied physics.
Yes, and we're more organized. To organize a small little company with all these uneducated electricians that are doing the job today. So it's a matter of them now getting out of the box, like I said, and to try to do things in a different way.
So how will your minister... Okay, good.
Ogun State, for example, I mean, we are blessed with so much land for agriculture. Our youth, we have to encourage them to go into farming. I mean, Lagos State today is coming to get our land to develop agriculture because you don't have enough in Lagos. I mean, what our youth, what are they doing about that? We have so much good policies for agriculture that the government of Senator Bikula Amosun FCA has already introduced for anyone interested in agriculture. I mean, we need our youth to embrace this and come and set up their own farm. And you know, the market is very huge. Lagos here can take everything we produce in Ogun State. So it's a matter of them not being lazy, coming out and...
But in what way, because you have to channel these ideas that you have, you probably have to channel them into policies and schemes and programs to engage with them, to get them to understand this new thinking, to create ready-made schemes for them, so that they can go into all of this agriculture, maybe some skill training and all of that. Is your government thinking along those lines?
Well, we have some infrastructure, some moribund training centers that we are developing for them to now come and learn different skills. And also at the same time, we're also trying to also create the opportunities that after they are qualified, there are some services waiting for them to, you know, Ogun State, we have the largest number of industries in Nigeria. Okay, they need services of all these technicians. Okay, but we need the technicians to be trained. So if our youth can just embrace this new idea, I'm sure they will.
I know I heard from your colleague in Commerce and Industry, Bimbo Ashiru, about partnering with BOI, Bank of Industry, to provide financing for such youth. So again, my question was, yes, it's one thing they get training, it's something else they get some feed into some services, but what if somebody wants to go into agriculture, or manufacturing, and needs financing? Probably you are also in a position to maybe facilitate a process with microfinance, with Bank of Industry to assist them.
We need also our youth to always be interested in getting information. Today, the Bank of Industry is introducing what they call cassava bread. Cassava grows in Ogun State everywhere. So, and they have provided fund for anyone interested to finance anything to do with production of that cassava flour. So, I see why anyone wouldn't now get up and try to invest in the equipment, process the cassava, the SMEs that are waiting to purchase your flour. So that's just one opportunity. About 4.3 billion naira is earmarked for that project. So, I mean, and we have all it takes to produce the cassava and then just to process it. So it's just a matter of information processing and also implementing that information process.
Okay. Excellent. Let's take a short time out. I'll be back and we'll talk about sports and what I see as the dwindling fortunes of sports in not just Ogun State, but the Southwest. We'll be right back.
My name is Laide Awoyemi. I live for Lagos. You see, as our new Lagos just defined the good. Good thing, good though. To go market now, no hard at all. Just pay. Sit down inside BRT bus. Small time, you don't reach where they go. Hospital call, the full ground. And for me and my pikin where I just born, treatment now free. You look left, you look right. Them they build new roads, new hospitals, new schools, new things everywhere. Everywhere they shine, gone. We thank God though. But come on, I hear saying that this tax money wey they pay, now then they use do all these good things. Yeah, they pay my own tax too. Say they pay your own.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome to my final segment with Dr. Lanre Tejosho, Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports in Ogun State. And now we want to focus on sports. And one of the things, I've noticed is the performance of the Southwest states in sports has collapsed. I probably understand why. In the Southwest, probably there's a greater focus on social services, education, health, and all. The citizens are probably not too interested in government spending its money on football clubs like many other states do. But nevertheless, in Ogun, we used to have Gateway that was in the Premier League. We had Abiola Babes, we had your IRCC, all of it. We're out of football, it seems, and many other sports in the state. What's your strategy? What's your plan to deal with this?
Well, if you can recall, the stars that came out of Ogun State, or out of the Southwest, in the 70s, 80s, like Segun Odegbami, for example. All these were graduates. They were all graduates. Okay, that means their parents encouraged them to play football. I think one of the problems we have today is that our parents are not really encouraging the children to go into football or sports.
Everybody wants to be an engineer.
Okay, and we are not saying they shouldn't go to school and go to university, but at the same time they must kind of allow them to express themselves. Okay, so that's what I think may have contributed to the dwindling fortunes of the Southwest. In the Green Eagles, for example, and so on. So, and likewise, the Abiola Babes, IICC, we had the Southwest financiers that were very much interested in investing in sports, and not even for what they want to get.
Adebayo, Super
yes,
Sports.
but
Super
just for them to keep the Southwest going in football.
But so let me challenge you, Dr. Mike Adenuga is a major financier of sports in Africa. GloCAF, this, final. But can't Ogun State, he's a citizen of Ogun State, indigene. Can we liaise with those people, very many wealthy people, to sponsor some projects, to support Gateway, to support those? Because somebody has to facilitate the process so that Gateway, for instance, can return to the Premier League. Do you have a plan for Gateway to return to the Premier League?
Well, for information, the Gateway has been very active in the Nigerian League, and even though we are yet to get to the Premiership division, but I can assure you that His Excellency is putting in his best this time around. Now, this year we must get to the Premiership. So, and someone like Mike Adenuga, is doing so much for Nigeria. Okay, so that now is like a national property, not Ogun State property. So in effect, he's doing more for Green Eagles than doing for the states. But of course, we'll keep on knocking at his door, and I'm sure with your policy statement this afternoon, we will get to do something for Gateway Football Club.
It's clear from our conversation that there's a funding constraint, and I perfectly understand, like you said, the priorities of states, and especially in a region in which the people are so socially active, can't be putting money on a football club like some states do. But can't we explore, especially for youth programs, and even some sports projects, can't we explore the option of international funding from multilaterals, from development agencies, from even global NGOs and foundations?
Well, I think that is one aspect of the economy that the National Assembly needs to address. Because we find a situation whereby we have very good projects attractive to the international community, but we get to a point where they will now demand for maybe federal government guarantee. Even though the state is buoyant and we have the capability and capacity to pay back the loan, but if you are not on the same political side as the federal government, they try to make sure that you do not achieve that request. So we need an independent body in the country that the state governments will approach when such need arises. Because, we can't keep on saying because of political reasons the people will be suffering from, a lack of the access to funding that will be beneficial to the whole citizenry. So
Interesting. I've had a similar issue on this program from another state government, a neighboring state. We'll be right back. My most important takeaways from the discussion are that, one, our youths need to be oriented towards entrepreneurship, skills acquisition, self-employment, rather than merely seeking employment. But that means that the education must be tailored towards functional and creative education, rather than just lectures that they don't internalize. My second important takeaway is about governments engaging with the private sector and with international donors on youths, on infrastructure, on sports, on those things that may not be core agendas of government and that would not attract direct funding from government. Alternative funding from proper engagement with private and international donors may be a valuable way out. Thank you very much for watching the Policy Council today. See you next time.